So anyhow, I did this morning and about it was. But I shut that off, but I'll say that. I'm not sure I can. No, I haven't.
No,
It's your charge.
no.
And we really upset for the whole night. They run the meeting. Jobs. Where is that? Are you gonna do that?
No, Josh is.
You gotta run that big. I gotta sit here first.
Oh. I gotta stay where you're at.
I haven't pledged, but I haven't set up here.
And you can't do that for them.
6:30.
You're supposed to be here. Look at that. Cheater line seats. Look at that.
I now call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals for the City of Jasper, the 7th day of May. Secretary Duchess, would you like to take roll, please?
I will. Right, Jerry Miller,
Here.
Julie Duchess, present. Wayne Kruger,
Here.
Andy Smith,
Present.
Dennis Tedrow.
Here.
Renee Caber. Here. Josh Gunsel.
Perfect. We have a quorum. That's fantastic. Now I invite everyone to stand, please stand for voluntary pledge of allegiance.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I believe everyone received the minutes from the last meeting. I don't know if anyone has any corrections, adjustments, anything else? No? If seeing none, I would take a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept minutes.
Motion by Dennis. Second by Jerry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, motion carried. We're now ready to begin the public hearing scheduled for this evening. With respect to tonight's meeting and public hearings, we are hereby incorporating by reference into the record of tonight's meetings and public hearing, City of Jasper Ordinance 2016-30, entitled Unified Development Ordinance of the City of Jasper, Indiana, and its jurisdictional area, and any and all amendments thereto, and the City of Jasper Comprehensive Plan pursuant to Article 5, Sections 2, 3, and 4 of the BZA Rules of Procedure. Presentation by a petitioner shall be limited to 15 minutes. The call for a remonstrator shall be limited to 20 minutes, with any individuals limited to no more than 5 minutes at the chairman's discretion. Such time limits may be increased by a majority vote of the board members present. With that, we have first tonight on the docket, Nathan Sang, owner and petitioner located at 3293 Lakeside Drive, seeking 4 different variances. The first variance, a variance from 16.07.10.A.3, aka Chapter 7, Development Standards, Accessory Uses and Structure Allowance of the City of Jasper Unified Development Ordinance to allow more than 2 accessory structures. Second variance, variance from 16.07.10.A.4, aka Chapter 7, Development Standards, Accessory Uses and Structures Allowance of the City of Jasper's Unified Development Ordinance to allow an accessory structure in excess to exceed the maximum of 22 feet in height. Third variance requested, variance 1602 or 1607.10.A.7, aka Chapter 7, Development Standards, Accessory Uses and Structure Allowance of the City of Jasper Unified Development Ordinance to allow accessory structure in the required front yard. And the fourth variance requested is a variance from 1607.10.A.7, aka Chapter 7, Development Standards, Accessory Uses and Structures Allowance of the City of Jasper Unified Development Ordinance to allow an accessory structure not to be compatible in style and materials to the primary structure. Do we have anyone speak on this? Please come forward and introduce yourself, name and address, and you may speak.
Okay, I'm Nathan Sang, 32 over here. Oh, you can flip that for me. Nathan Sang, 3293 Lakeside Drive. And I'm here to request variances to build a functional building, outbuilding, in place of a structure that we just tore down. Previous building we tore down. We have several buildings on the property that we bought. It's over 23 acres. Some old barns there that we do kind of currently use, but they're not enclosed or anything. Older barns. The house that we're looking at right there, thank you, was the current house that was there. We did use it some initially when we bought the property about 13 years ago. And it's just haven't been using it. It's been kind of falling apart, needs repairs. We need space to put stuff in because with the 23 acres, we've got tractors, implements, things like that really would like to have enclosed. We did build one accessory structure at our home, which is about 140 yards from the building. And technically it's in our front yard, but it's through a wood. So I understand why the variances are there, but it's considerable distance from the home. And just figured since it was a building that was existing, it would be a good spot to put an outbuilding where we could use functionally. And then just the home that was there it wasn't, it was an old house on a slab, so couldn't really store anything in there again. Like I said, it was kind of falling apart, so.
There will still be more than two cabins.
Yeah, so our house has one accessory building, I guess, from the current,
The one that's-
that matches the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and that was the other variance, it's not gonna be a brick home, building like ours. It's gonna be nicer than the building that was there. But it's gonna be a metal outbuilding. So, and we plan on landscaping it, and we've also got some after these last few storms, we've got some pine trees kind of down in that area. We've lost a couple, but there's some on that border that we're gonna go ahead and take out too, because they're kind of leaning on the other property. So we're gonna take those out just to mitigate that risk, but we'll plant more trees there, landscaping for the building.
And Nathan, when about did you guys demolish that building right there?
So we just had the permit for that a couple months ago, I guess, and it was done, like finished by Devin Stefano about 3-4 weeks ago.
So what you're asking is basically a 1-for-1 substitution.
Correct, yeah. It's going to be basically on the same footprint there. It's gonna be taller, so we can, fit the things we need to fit in there. But it's not moving essentially, distance from the border. Or from the other houses. There's still a drive. You can see the drive goes down. There's gonna be no change in the road. The current drive that's already there. We're still gonna enter the same way.
So the trees blocking it.
Pardon?
Most of the trees block it anyway.
Exactly. And so we did plant, on our whole property, we planted pine trees just to kind of keep things secluded, and just help with visibility for us and for neighbors too. The trees that we're taking down aren't barrier trees, but we are gonna plant some more trees just because of the neighbors, and we've talked to those couple neighbors right there that are effectively would see it and let them know, and they, you can talk to them, but they were fine with it. But they planted some trees, we planted trees too, just to, make it aesthetic.
How much taller than 22 feet is the building gonna be?
23 or 24. 20 has here 24. I think that has to do with the 14-inch sides has to be, I think just with the pitch has to be 24 from that.
Anybody from the public would like to speak?
My name is Jennifer Hayes. My husband and I own the property at 3253 Lakeside Drive. I think Dr. Singh answered most of my questions. We were just kind of, can we see the map again?
Yep.
I just want to see like how far down it is.
Can you tell me which one of these properties
Yeah.
you're?
Scroll south.
Yeah, you're gonna have to scroll a little. There you go, right there. So it's the one just, yeah,
Next one.
one right there.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, okay, so it's further down then. Okay, all right. I think
Yeah.
we were a little,
This is way up here.
yeah, okay. I think we were just a little concerned with like noise from construction.
Right.
I work from home,
Right.
and my husband is a veteran that has PTSD, so I just, the
Right.
noise, like, yeah. Okay, I mean, I think that was the only question we
Yeah,
had.
that's
was-
fine, and they did, I should have sent out, we had to send like 64 letters out, I should have sent a diagram
Well,
of this out.
that was the other, I was
Yeah.
like, is it,
Yeah,
you know,
I
it's-
know.
you-
And we talked to most people, and I,
Yeah.
you know, I apologize that it wasn't clear, they did
No,
do
it's okay.
demo down there too, and so hopefully that wasn't too.
Yeah. no, it,
It should be a lot quieter than that.
okay, yeah, hopefully. Well, and I think the other question was, you know, like, the variance from 22 feet, I was like, well, is it 23 or is it 50? You know,
Yeah, sure, yeah, I understand.
so, all right, yeah, that was all the
Okay,
questions I
yeah,
had.
thank you.
Thank you. Jen. Thank you.
Anyone else? Take a motion to close the public portion of this. Motion by Andy,
I'll second it.
second by Jerry. Okay. All right.
No letters or anything?
I'm seeking a motion, someone to make a motion either to allow or deny the variance, one at a time, no?
Yeah, go ahead.
One at a time, yeah.
Make a motion, to allow more than 2 accessory structures at 3293 Lakeside Drive.
Motion by Dennis to allow the 2 accessory structures at the residence there. Second. Two, hold it, just a second.
Clear, there are existing 2 and this will be 3.
So if you scroll down, sorry, these, we tore down this one, other way, go north. Yeah. There are two old, one was an old like cattle building they had, and like those 2 buildings right there, they're on the north end of the property. They're a few hundred yards away, I'd say, from that other building.
Yeah, so I just want to make it clear, when we say more than 2, that could be 5 or 10, or, you know, let's just say the 1 additional requested
Okay.
accessory structure.
I make a motion to allow the additional requested accessory structure located at 3293 Lakeside Drive.
Motion by Dennis,
I'll second.
second by Andy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Second variance, I seek a motion for that as well.
I'll make a motion to allow an accessory structure to exceed the maximum of 22 feet in height.
To set a maximum,
The requested 24 feet.
okay.
To allow an accessory structure to the requested 24 feet of the proposed structure located at 3293 Lakeside Drive.
Motion by Dennis to accept the greater than 22 feet to 24 feet. I think, second by anyone?
Second.
Second by Julie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And third variance.
I'll make a motion to allow the proposed accessory structure in the required front yard at 3293 Lakeside Drive.
Motion by Dennis to allow the accessory structure in the front yard. Seek a second. Second by Andy. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I will seek a motion for the fourth variance.
Make a motion to allow the proposed structure, to allow an accessory proposed structure to not be compatible in style and materials to the primary structure located at 3293 Lakeside Drive.
And a motion by Dennis to allow the accessory structure not to be compatible in style and materials to the primary structure by Dennis. I'd seek a second. Second by Andy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Based on the information presented to this Board of Zoning Appeals, we have determined that all the following 3 criteria to be true. Development standard variance request will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. That the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantial adverse manner. And the third criteria, the strict application of the terms of the Jasper zoning and subdivision ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property for which the variance is sought. Thus, the Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance request.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Next on the docket. B&J Properties and Realty LLC, owner petitioner located at 1503 Newton Street. They are seeking 3 variances. First variance from 160406, AKA Chapter 4 Districts, Single Family Residential, R2, permitted uses of the City Unified Development Ordinance to allow an administrative/professional office in an R2 zone. Second variance is a variance from 160705, AKA Chapter 7 Development Standards, Parking Standards of the City Unified Development Ordinance to allow less parking space than required. And number 3, third variance request is a variance from 160806C, AKA Chapter 8 Signage Standards for Agricultural and Residential of the city's Unified Development Ordinance to allow a sign greater than the allowed 4 square feet. I assume there's one here to speak for B&J. Come on up, state your name and address that you're speaking on behalf.
Hello, my name is Boone Taylor, and we're here on 1503 Newton Street. And I'm the president and founder of Operation Mind, Body, and Soul, and we're growing pretty quick. If you don't know a little bit about us, we are veterans helping veterans with PTSD, mental health, and thoughts of suicide. We currently have an area at the River Center that is a rec area / gym for veterans to go. We keep walkers, wheelchairs, handicap ramps, and other things as well. And we keep those at our tattoo studio on Main Street. And we're running out of room for storage for those, so we're looking to use the basement as storage for the walkers, wheelchairs, things like that, not so much the handicap ramp. But our office is also at that 708 Main Street as well, and I'm trying to make it look a little more professional, where we're separating kind of the rec area from the office and the tattoo shop from the office for the Operation Mind, Body, and Soul.
Do you have any visuals on this?
Yeah.
So that one visual of the house that it showed a slab there, we took that slab out and we added additional parking there. Our plans are, right now we have 6 spots there. We did roughly with the patio or the slab and the driveway next to it, there was probably 4. So we widened that out a little bit, but the plan is if we get the variance approved, we will survey that property and we're gonna turn the back part of the property all into a parking lot.
So, Boone, how many people will be working at this office approximately on a normal day?
2 to 3 people a day.
2 or 3 people, and how many people actually will be stopping by the office or picking up?
Really, it would be a rare occurrence of someone stopping by. Like I said, this is more for the fundraising and admin part of it, grant writing and things like that, not so much a place to go. We do have, like I said, we have the rec area at the River Center, which is kind of our main traffic area. That's where our veterans go to work out and hang out and do things. So this is just more of an office space, storage space for our walkers and wheelchairs and such.
And those are just taken out as needed.
Correct.
So clientele wouldn't be going to this operation?
No.
Only your employees?
Yes.
And then going back to the parking lot type deal there, is there a spot, or is it gonna be large enough that from a traffic safety standpoint, that they don't have to back out on 15th Street there?
Well, that's the whole reason we extended that. We took that slab out and
Mhm.
extended the gravel back there for now. That's just a base for the parking lot. But that way we can pull in and then we can back up along the side of the house and come out that way.
Okay,
Um,
just I know that's not, I can't imagine backing out there, that would not be a fun situation for
I pulled
either
in,
you guys or anybody there, or any of us coming up.
Is your plan to keep this for the most part free? You're not gonna be parking along here. This is so you can kind of turn around and then get out.
yes, and when we do the parking lot eventually, it would be, those parking spots would go slanted along the tree line there and then along the side of the house, going straight back. And then that would be the back out and the turnaround. I've went in there with a dump trailer and a truck, and it's a little scary getting in and out sometimes, especially around 3 o'clock.
And then as far as the parking area itself, it has to be paved correctly within a year.
Yeah, that would be our request. Currently, gravel is allowed with a single family home. But our request would be that, if he's gonna convert this to commercial use, more or less in permanence, because even after they're gone, the use will continue with that. That he would at some point go to, I believe he calls it a dustless surface, and that could be concrete or asphalt or whatever. But it does give a 1-year grace period, and if there's a hardship to that, he can have that conversation with you, and you can allow for more time if needed. But yeah, I think a year is probably sufficient.
So you're aware of that too.
I am now, my only issue is there's other, places with gravel that are even along that road. I'm not gonna point out any properties, but there are other businesses that are with gravel as well.
And they may have existed prior to that ordinance and that established rule. It was something that came up in review, and again, it allows for single family to have that, but we think the conversion probably dictates that we should probably look at.
Well, I mean, if it comes to an issue, we'll just file extension.
So your variance request and you're granting, if you grant the variance, you need to have a condition,
Right. Yes, yeah.
because it is a rule.
Yeah.
So then you have to apply the rule, and if you don't want to apply the rule, then that would be another variance.
I mean, I don't even know if that's even on there. I think what we're asking for today is just the use of the lots that are there, less than the zoning standards.
Right.
So we're not even talking about the materials.
But the conversion then forces that
Right now
issue.
you have a year.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
it's written, and I'm on the veteran committee, it means that you have gravel for a year, but then you have to do a certain service.
Yeah.
Well, and there, I mean, we talked about some other products, but we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah, dustless surface,
Yeah,
pretty,
as long as it's
pretty
dustless.
open-ended.
Yeah, that's
It doesn't state whether.
Yeah.
Concrete or asphalt.
No. There are other products.
See,
Yes,
yeah, and whatever.
but ultimately the goal is to be concrete.
I have no other questions.
But yeah, one more.
There are a few.
It says to allow less parking space than required, that's what the variance.
Yeah.
Really was about, so it's
Right.
because the house is bigger than the 2 or 3 buildings.
Well,
That's why he's.
no, because the business is what, 1 spot per every 350 feet technically, or 300 square feet technically on a business, but I know that we've been pushing lately to try to reduce that number so that we don't end up, I know it's just a single place, but I get thinking about out north where we have these monster parking lots that are sitting mostly vacant to reduce the number of parking spots, and same thing with our duplexes and everything. We're trying to reduce that number of required spots to get rid of some of the concrete space, I guess, for lack of better terms.
I think the important things to know that we haven't mentioned yet, so I don't think we have, how many spaces are required?
That's what I was gonna get at, and it warms my heart that you're recognizing that we need less parking in town. But 5 is the current required number based on the ordinance. How many did you say?
6.
Yeah, so it may be a moot point, but currently, 5 is the required number.
Right, okay. Again, I'm more concerned about, in my case, in my thoughts, I'm more concerned about the safety of backing out in that road and make certain that we get the non-dust situation and, because again, if he's only have 2 or 3 employees there, the number of spaces is pretty mute and in my case, or my thought is, if it ever does revert back to assuming this would get passed, that it ever reverts back to a residential house, that 2 or 3 spots is still ample for that house.
I think it would be appropriate based on what you're seeing here and what he's done already, that he just approve the parking that he's made available currently. And then as far as the paving is concerned, that's for another day, a year from now.
Have a question?
Can we look at the sign?
Yeah, there's also a sign.
So this sign would be attached to the roof of the house. Initially, we were talking about putting a light on it, but I think we kind of went away with that. Just so, I mean, the light would shine on the house and it wouldn't affect the neighbors, but I just don't think it's necessary.
City light there. Got a lot of city light there on that corner from. Right, all the other structures.
Yes,
Josh, how much bigger is that compared to what we would be allowed, like,
So if you apply it as, well, it's in a residential zone, so if you consider it as a in-home business type situation, they're granted, or they're allowed 4 square feet on the home, on the face of the home, yeah,
and this is.
18.
But across the street is B1, which is 32 square feet.
Yeah.
It's facing the street, so you guys, it's in the neighborhood.
You brought up the light, what do you anticipate your typical hours of operation?
Typically, just your normal work day from 8 till 8 to 5.
And just to clarify, you stated that it won't be illuminated anymore.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, with the lights out on the street, I
Yeah,
don't think it's
right.
necessary.
I agree.
Would anyone from the public like to come and speak on this? Seeing no one. I'll take a motion to close the public portion. Yes,
Make a motion to close.
motion by Julie,
I'll take that.
second by Dennis, I'm feeling all right. I think we covered the bulk up here, got a pretty good idea what we think we need to put in the various motions, if we're gonna pass or deny, whatever it may be. So with that being said, I would seek some motions on this, on the very first variance to allow a administrative or to allow or deny administrative professional office in an R2 zone.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we grant a variance from 16.04.06, chapter 4, district, single-family residence permitted uses of the city's unified development ordinance to allow administrative professional office in an R2 zone.
Motion by Dennis to allow the variance as presented.
I'll send Jerry.
Jared, yeah, Jared, I saw the point.
Dennis, Jerry.
Yeah.
I'll send.
Second by Julie, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Great. First variance has passed. How about variance number 2 to allow with the parking lot?
I'll make the variance, I'll make the motion that we approve the variance from 160705, chapter 7, development standards, parking standards for the city's unified development ordinance to allow less parking space than required.
Motion by Jerry to allow less parking spaces than required.
You want to put a specific number? What, 5 is required. 5 is required, is what, 6 is what
Six is
you
what-
currently have,
Correct.
so I don't think you wanna go any less than.
Fine, I think this is for their,
Just
then it was
to
even be
approve the
variance, but that's
parking.
fine.
Just approve the parking plan that he's presented.
And just to be clear, are those 6 located in this part here?
They would actually include these 2, so 4 and 2.
Okay, because I don't think these 2 here technically would meet our parking minimums. 9-foot bay, I mean, maybe, I guess if they're parallel, I haven't measured. Okay,
More than 9 feet.
But well, as long as it meets our standards, then you can count that. So, okay.
1607.5, chapter 7, development standards, parking standards, for the city's unified development ordinance to allow a minimum of 5 parking spaces.
Motion by Jerry to allow a minimum of 5 parking spaces. Second by Andy, all those in favor?
Aye.
Are those opposed? Okay. All right, and variance number 3, seeking a motion to allow or deny a sign greater than the allowed 4 square feet. And I would ask that if you're gonna make a motion to accept, that you put the non-lighted portion on there, please.
I'll make a motion, for the variance from 160806C, from the City of Jasper's Unified Development Ordinance to allow a sign greater than the allowed 4 square feet that does not have a light on it.
Currently 6 by 3, is that? Would that be a nice thing to add?
Yeah, let me reword it. I'll make a motion to allow, a sign, the proposed sign that is 18 square feet at 32, or at, 1503 Newton Street. With no lights.
Motion by Dennis to allow the sign as presented at the 1503 address with no light. A motion by Dennis to allow it. Second by Andy, all those in favor? Aye. Great. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Based on the information presented to this Board of Zoning Appeals, we have determined that all the 3 following criteria to be true. The development standard variance requested will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. That the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantial adverse manner. And the third criteria is the strict application of the terms of the city, or the terms of Jasper zoning and subdivision ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property for which the variance is sought. Thus, the Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance request. Okay, next on the docket. Christopher and Caitlin Schwank, owner and petitioner, located at 5888 West Sycamore Lane. Seeking 3 variances, variance from 160404C, aka Chapter 4, Section 4C RR District Standards to allow accessory structure with the height greater than 22 feet. Second variance requested is a variance from 160710A5, aka Chapter 7 Development Standards, accessory uses and structures allowances of the City of Jasper's Unified Development Ordinance to allow accessory structure to not be in subordinate in area to the primary structure. And the third variance is a variance from 160710A8, aka Chapter 7 Development Standard Accessory Uses and Structures Allowance of the City of Jasper's UDO to allow an accessory structure to not be compatible in style and materials with the principal use structure. Looks like we have a representative there. Would you please state your name?
Good evening, Board. Brad Eckerly, Grossman Land Surveying and Engineering, here on behalf of Chris and Caitlin Schwank. So this is in a platted subdivision, Lot 4 in Riverview Acres. This is southwest portion of the jurisdictional limits of the City of Jasper. So jurisdiction not far to the west and south, but you can kind of see the limits on the existing homes in that area. So we're located just west of Stewart Road, north of Division, and located at the southwest corner of the cul-de-sac of Sycamore Lane there. So subject tract, plotted tract is just over 3 acres. Has a depth of about 500 feet and about 250 feet getting into the cul-de-sac there. So the variances presented petition to you are related specific to the not in that area, or if you want to go through mine, it's fine too. Is specific to the accessory structure that you see of the 2 buildings. So the residence being there on the east, common driveway coming off Sycamore Lane, And then that gray roof you see, that is the existing accessory, so approximately 75 feet further west behind the residence. And few things on the land and the wooded area you see, that's related, a lot has to do with the floodplain that is present. So specific to the building permit, we did have a elevation certificate to ensure that the addition would conform to the City of Jasper floodplain ordinance. The existing structure on the accessory is about 4 feet above the base flood, so the existing and the addition would conform to being 2 feet above the base flood. So, but specific to the 3 variances presented, I'll kind of, Josh, if you don't mind.
Yep.
So the zoning that we had is in RR. You can see ag present there to the west, but we are in the RR zone. And go to the next one. So the proposed addition, you see in blue, the existing home and the accessory, the magenta being the addition to the existing accessory structure. The north in regard to the setbacks and the purpose of the zoning, 15-foot side setback is present per the ordinance. Actually, the restrictive covenants within the plat of Riverview Acres has 20 feet on the side yard. So the addition does conform to the UDO as well as the plat in regard to the setback. So you see in the pink, and I'll show an iteration, but you see an addition to the north, addition to the west, then addition to the south, and then that magenta pink piece on the east side is a lean-to there. So hit the next one.
Keeping the original building there, just kind of going all around it.
That's correct, yeah. So that's just an aerial. You see keep using magenta and purple, whatever. So you see the floodplain there, the dash line that cuts through. That's per the firm, and then we did confirm on elevations that not exact match, but specific to the firm and the actual elevations both would comply, specific to conforming to the City of Jasper floodplain ordinance. So go to the next one. So here's a summary. Not to bounce, not to throw a bunch of numbers, but it was just the best way in case you ask me questions. So, so the existing residence is just under 3,000 square feet. And then specific to subordinate in area, being one of the variances, the existing detached is 1,680. So you see with that addition, over just near 6,400 square feet would be the fine. So that's specific to the subordinate area to the principal. In regard to the height, I tried to shrink it down. Variance allows 22 feet. The proposed structure is not even, but basically like 22 feet 1 inch. So I think the variance documents I just presented 22 feet 6 inches. But really relative, and I'll show you a picture. You can see the peak, the peak on the, so the residence, the principal structure is just under 25 feet. And then the proposed addition being 22 feet. So the accessory is still subordinate in height to it. It's just the fact that we're over that development standard of 22 feet by an inch. So the existing is 15 feet. But you will see that the topography of this, even with the height variance, the peak of the new addition still will sit 10 feet lower than the existing house. Just based on the property, but our height's all based on adjacent grade as that comes. So, and then floodplain went through that, but basic conforming there. So, and then I'll show you some quick renderings here in regard to
Just to common man this real quick. So what you said was this number here is the eve peak elevation of the house at 486 sea level or whatever. And that the new addition is gonna be 475, so approximately 11 feet lower than what the house is.
that's it. I couldn't find it when I was looking, but I appreciate the help.
Where are you gonna be next?
So just, that was just the setback, just so I didn't forget. And then here's just a rendering, so to your left would be south, based on that aerial that you saw. So that middle portion, that you see, like with a bay there, that would be the existing structure. And then there's a rendering here, some height. So that would be, so the existing, one of the variances is the compatibility and style materials. So I'll show you a picture, but basically the siding of the existing is actual legal non-conforming specific to materials. So the house being a masonry structure, and then the existing is a gray siding. So this proposed is basically providing us with that color that is better matching, not necessarily in style, but matching on the to the house of the principal. Next one, that's just the other side. So the lean-to, that would be the east side. We're looking northwesterly here. And then here's a picture of the residence. You see that driveway to your right. I did a poor job in giving you a comparison of both. Didn't realize it, but just to your right, you'll see a driveway, and that's for this next picture. So there on the left, you see the drive. That's how that, and that's the existing accessory. You see the trees around that area to the north, west, and south down in there. So you're basically looking to utilize the existing drive and access with just some modifications, just specific around the structure addition itself. So basically with and the findings, you know, that we're presented with, you know, being that the location and the use and value, it is, you know, one of the variances being an increase to that, but we're not changing, you know, the overall use and what has been there for that area, and then providing on the compatibility, like I had mentioned, that you know, no impacts to the right of way, but modifying what we are there and getting a better compatibility and color to the resident. That'll take any question.
Would anyone from the public like to come speak on this? Please come to the mic and state your name and address, please.
My name's Kenny Kern. I live at 5535 West Stewart Road. We were the first to build in 37 years ago in Riverview, and I do have a copy of the original plat, but my main concern is the 22 feet's nothing. But as long as you're 20 feet off the property line that you butt up to is one of the main things that was stated in the original plat, and not a business. You know, I don't know if you guys, where everybody lives at, but I'm sure you wouldn't want businesses by your house, somebody doing auto repair or small engine repair, whatever it may be, because this is like an estate, and I wouldn't want to see businesses being ran out of people's homes. Now, Ryan Modice, who lives next to them, he has a business that he has, but his is a pressure washing business, so he gets a job, he goes to the job site. It isn't traffic coming in and out all the time. That's my only two concerns. If we do stay up to 20 feet, that is originally stated, and that the business is not put into this building.
They're asking for business.
Are they running a business out of there?
No, I don't know,
Okay.
but I'm just saying for future, that's, I
Well,
don't know what the
They
plans
would have
are.
to come back to ask for.
Like I said, that's my only concerns on
Yeah,
that.
no, they would actually, they have to come back and ask for a variance on that, so.
But those are my only two concerns. Okay.
And then, if I remember correctly, I drive by there all the time. I don't think from like the main county roads, you can't see. I don't think I can see that building from the main county
Oh,
road.
you can't see it, but you know, you're in a cul-de-sac.
Right, yeah.
That house is sold 3
Yeah,
times, so
yeah,
people can come
yeah.
in, there are kids,
Yeah,
you got
that's
business
right.
up and down
That's
that
right.
cul-de-sac. That is my only concern.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Site dimensions. I don't know what this is for.
23.
Martin Stelpole, I live in front of his house. I'm not opposed to the building. The only thing I wanna know is how much traffic's gonna come in and out of that road. I know when the construction is, I haul concrete for 25 years, I know that. But after that, because There's 3 boys go walk to the school to Stewart Road every day and they walk home. And the neighbors, 2 little girls about this big were running around the cul-de-sac while ago. I don't wanna get anybody.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to the building. I don't know what he's gonna do with it,
Right,
but I don't want a lot of traffic coming in and out of there.
right. Again, he hasn't come before the board asking for a variance for a business, so at this point in time, we are in the understanding that it's strictly, it's personal use, so. He
Well,
would have to come
personal
before-
use, that's fine.
Yep, yeah, he would have to come before the board to ask for a variance for a business,
Well,
even if it's a home business, he would actually have to come before the board to have a legal.
I don't
business.
think the plat book, the Riverview Acres,
Right,
I don't know what it says.
but they're still under they're under our Jasper's jurisdiction.
Yeah, we
So they weren't, still have to come
we
here.
weren't when we built down there, but we are now.
Yes, now you are, so he would have to come before the board if he were ever gonna do that.
The only thing I'm concerned with is traffic.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I know when mixers come in and out,
Yeah,
kids are probably gonna be at school, so that's probably not gonna
Right.
be an issue.
right, yeah,
But there's a lot of traffic. I mean, you got 2 little girls running through there.
right,
They were there a while ago when I left.
right.
So, and they ride their little Jeep and their little cars and that, so I don't wanna see a whole bunch of traffic coming in and out of there.
Yeah, from what we're seeing, from what is being presented to us as what we're looking at on this paper is entirely just for personal use.
Okay.
There
that's fine.
shouldn't be,
What if that changes?
well, that's what we're saying. If there is any further plan to turn that into a business, that then there would start being traffic coming in. I guarantee you notices would be sent out and you guys would be back in this room.
Yeah.
And if the entire community is saying that you do not want that,
Yeah.
we would be doing our jobs to be listening to you and
Okay.
taking that into account.
Anyone else?
Brad, is this the dimension you're looking at, 23 feet?
Yes. Yeah, so just specific on the question of the 20 feet, is a 23-foot setback on the north area with the addition.
It was more than 20.
More than 20. Yeah, so.
I don't take a motion to close the public.
No other letters or anything. I'll make a motion to close the public.
Motion by Dennis. Second by Jerry. Anyone?
I mean, if they ever wanted to do a business, they would have to come back before.
Yes.
I think that just because of the size of the, it was like a nuclear route.
Yeah. That would be a problem, so. Okay. At this point in time, then, I would seek either a motion to allow or deny the very first variance as presented.
I'll make a motion, for a variance from 160404 to allow an accessory structure with a height greater than 22, but not higher than 23 feet at 5888 West Sycamore Lane.
Motion by Dennis, second by Julie. All those in favor? Great, motion carries. Next variance, seeking a motion to allow accessory structure to not be in subordinate area to the primary structure. I will seek a motion to either allow or deny the variance.
I'll make a motion,
Motion by Andy,
making a motion to allow an accessory structure to not be subordinate in area to the primary structures.
Renee, did we
Yeah,
put
I
a,
think that's specific to the size that was requested, which I think you said was 64. I think that's what you said.
60s or 50?
Yeah.
That's 185.
Yeah, here's your total, not to exceed 6,400 square.
Yeah.
feet.
Make a motion to allow an accessory structure to not be subordinate in area to the primary structure, but not more than 6,385 feet.
I'll second that.
Motion by Andy to allow the accessory structure to be 6,385 square feet, and a second by Dennis. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And now I'll seek a motion to either allow or deny the third variance at this point in time.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Andy,
I'll make a motion to allow an accessory structure to not be compatible in style materials with the principal use structure as presented.
motion by Andy to allow an accessory structure to not be compatible in style and materials with the principal use structure as presented. Seek a second.
I'll second.
Second by Julie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Based on the information presented to this Board of Zoning Appeals, we have determined that all the following three criteria to be true. The development standard variance requested will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. That the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantial adverse manner. And third criteria, the strict application of the terms of the Jasper zoning and subdivision ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the properties for which the variance is sought. Therefore, the Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance requested.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. All right, I think that is all three of our items for tonight. I need Josh or Renee, is there anything new business or anything you'd like to point out to us tonight, or
Nothing at this time.
nothing? Nothing, great. And now, how about a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make the motion to close.
Motion by Dennis,
Second that.
a second by Julie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night.